Roger, copy.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome to another Moondao Town Hall. So today we're gonna mix it up a little bit, and we're actually going to do a presentation. So we're going to go over a talk that I did recently, actually just yesterday, at Stripe. Here, without further ado, I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see this. Cool. All right, so yeah, the topic of the conversation is on internet native organizations. So yeah, this is a talk that I gave just yesterday at Stripe about how a lot of the DAO infrastructure that we've been working on at Moondao and also just generally in the DAO space is kind of universally applicable to businesses and could easily be integrated into like the current Stripe suite where they like support orgs. And it's a really timely conversation because Stripe has been showing a lot of interest in the on-chain space. They've been acquiring a couple companies like Privy, which Moondao uses, Bridge, which is a stablecoin infrastructure for payments. And yeah, so they invited me over to give this talk, and I'm going to go through it here with you guys today. And then maybe at the end, I will share some updates on some of the work that we've done. But there's some stuff that I want to wait on until we've got the full launch complete. Okay, cool. So internet native organizations. So I feel like I don't really need to give my own personal background to this audience, but for Stripe is useful. But I guess for those that don't know, I used to be a software engineer at Google. I worked at YouTube, I worked at Google X, and at Waymo. I was a part of Constitution DAO, which according to Wikipedia is the 20th largest crowd raise ever, which is pretty wild. Yeah, crazy story. We raised a bunch of money in a week, lost to Ken Griffin. And yeah, maybe we'll battle Ken Griffin another day. We'll see. Afterwards, I helped launch Moondao, which according to Wikipedia is the 58th largest crowd raise ever, so still pretty good. And then obviously we sent 2 people to space, funded a bunch of R&D, and I also included that we got a DARPA grant, which I think is like pretty solid. Like they don't mess around. We're legit, guys. I think just to frame this conversation, it's interesting to go into like what do we mean when we use the term DAO? Because we kind of use it all the time, but I think yeah, it's interesting to like try to figure out the roots of the word. So it's actually I credit Vitalik in his white paper where he talks about DAOs. There have been other people that have kind of published stuff about DAOs before, but it wasn't really until you have the smart contract platform that like it really kind of became something that's feasible. And then I actually dug up, there's like a little Medium comment where Vitalik, like Medium, the website, medium.com, he like commented on an article and discussed like where the idea came from. And it comes from a book called Daemon, which is this like distributed or like decentralized like computer virus almost that lives on after the programmer made it. And it like secretly takes over a bunch of companies and essentially like starts recruiting people and taking over like digital infrastructure like driverless cars and doing a bunch of like crazy stuff. And it can't be turned off because it's like yeah, running on this like wild decentralized backend. So it kind of takes like that's kind of a scary future, and hopefully that's not what DAOs end up doing in the world. But that's the original that's the root of the word itself. Then in 2016, a couple years later, there was something called the DAO. So this is a DAO that raised 3.6 million Ethereum. So to put that in perspective, Moondao raised 2,600 Ethereum. So this is like 2 orders of magnitude more. And they got hacked. This is actually what caused the Ethereum hard fork. So you'll see like sometimes like Ethereum Classic, and the reason Ethereum Classic happened was because the DAO was such a monumental hack that they actually essentially decided to erase those blocks and like continue the blockchain without that hack. So we're currently on the undo version of Ethereum that doesn't include that hack. Ethereum Classic still exists, and I believe it still uses proof of work, so that's kind of interesting. But yeah, since then, since the DAO hack, there have been a few kind of major DAO platforms or I don't know, DAO philosophies. I included a couple of them here. So there's the Aragon DAO flavors. Aragon DAO is still around doing really cool stuff. And yeah, they raised a bunch of money back in like 2019, I want to say. A lot of their work inspired me. I thought it was really cool what they're doing. Moloch DAOs also kind of started around the same time. They have the rage quit mechanism, so you can essentially pool money with others, and then you can pull that money out if you disagree with the DAO. In 2020, 2021, we saw a lot of off-chain voting. So essentially what this was is like Gnosis Safe with some automations. Sometimes they use Zodiac modules or something like that. And then you do off-chain voting on Snapshot and then reflect the results of that vote on chain. This was the pattern that Moondao used. And it's worked pretty well. It's a pretty flexible framework, and we've built a bunch of automations on top of that since. And it can kind of progressively been moving more and more towards on-chain voting. But yeah, then there's also a lot of orgs that use OpenZeps, Governor Bravo or Governor Alpha was the early version. My read of the situation is that, you know, a lot of DAOs took this like direct democracy approach, but you know, unfortunately, just due to voter apathy, lack of context, and even security concerns, a lot of DAOs were hacked or had some, you know, problems where like they were basically onboarded by pirates, and not to mention that it's also just operationally very difficult. So we, you know, people might think that, oh, running a vote is just that like final, like, you know, the thing that you see on Snapshot, like people just discussing a proposal. But really there's like so much under the hood. You know, you have to have proposal infrastructure, the status of the proposal, the cycles around the proposal. Nance does much of this, which is we've been using, which is great. But then also having people monitor the forums, comment on stuff, review the proposals, make sure that they actually like make any sort of sense whatsoever. And then also the accountability afterwards. So like, okay, you're giving money to a group of people that are implementing this proposal, but how do you ensure that they actually do the thing? They don't just run off with the money. Like you need a lot of accountability. You know, the way that we do it is we'll take you know, a safe and send funds into a safe, and then have you know, rewards program afterwards, so that there's essentially like a carrot at the end of your like implementation period, and then you get rewarded by the community. But even that is also very operationally difficult. So there's just like all of these like very, very difficult problems they have to solve in order to have you know, a truly decentralized like DAO where people have this direct democracy. Moondao does it, but it's very difficult. I can say that from experience. It's a very, very, very difficult thing to manage and to operate continuously for a long period of time. Most DAOs peter out. Most DAOs said, no, we're not doing this anymore. But in the meantime, there's been kind of, I think, a shift where a lot of organizations realize that actually, like, we don't need to be DAOs. For some applications, DAOs can be kind of cringe. They don't need to be like this like very big thing with like a ton of participation from like most of the decisions day to day operationally can be done by like a small group of people. And they might not necessarily benefit from mass participation. This might sound like a hot take from like the DAO world, but like every single company, works like this. They have a benevolent dictator. It's called the CEO. And that the reason that like that is the dominant form of organization for companies is that it works. It isn't operationally complex. There's just someone that says we're doing this, we're doing A instead of B, and if they suck, they just get kicked out. So like most businesses run that way. We invented a bunch of DAO tooling for DAOs, but actually the majority of businesses can benefit from this on-chain tooling. But we just need to like rethink or like expand our thinking from just saying, okay, this is like a tool that's useful for DAOs. This is actually a tool that's useful for on-chain organizations. So this was, a slide built for the Stripe audience, but I just kind of outlined a few things that would be beneficial for like most companies. Like you can incorporate incredibly quickly. You can spin up an account within, seconds, and then people can send you money immediately. You can register your ENS, and it's like basically you can just start moving like within like that day. You have an idea and you say, hey, we're going to do it. We're going to form a multi-sig. Boom, now we have a treasury. All right, let's seed it with stable coins. Let's use Juicebox or whatever fundraising mechanism. All of a sudden you have assets on chain. It's a process that like would take you otherwise multiple weeks, if not months, to go from like, oh, we're going to start a company to like, all right, now we've got a bank account with money and we can do things. So that's like an enormous, like that alone is like, okay, like we should do that. But then on top of that, you get international payments. You can stream payments to contractors. You can do these things across borders. So, the arbitration is just done on chain. You can have predictable contracts between people. You can do profit distributions very easily with these split contracts. I mean, yeah, there's maybe regulatory challenges around it, but I don't think those will continue for long. I think that like things are already rapidly progressing to like adopt a lot of this technology. You can do corporate governance, so you can have permissions on chain. You can have boards or multi-sigs, CEOs or admins. You have the operating agreement of the organization just becomes a smart contract. We have a bunch of stuff that we've built for Sybil resistance, so ensuring that like people aren't creating multiple accounts. There's obviously a good deal of security that is already built into the Ethereum chain, via private keys. And then like maybe some of the companies would like to use the community participation, the voting stuff, all of the stuff that we built around DAOs. I don't think that we should just throw that out. Like I think that's also very, very useful. You have votes like Elon does on X, votes from like your user base, etc. Like all that is really cool, like ways to get feedback from your users. And then, but it's not all perfect. There's still a lot of challenges. Simple onboarding is like a huge problem. Right now, if I like want to pay someone who's using Stripe, it's like trivially easy. I just plug in my like credit card and then boom, it's done. If I want to do that on chain, it can be very difficult. It's been getting easier, but like I'm still constantly on calls with people that are having problems just like funding their wallet and then like executing a transaction on chain. And until we get that friction solved, like it's going to be very difficult to have mass adoption, mass participation. And the ideal world is that like a lot of this infrastructure just kind of like goes into the background and we don't really need it as much, but or we don't need to expose the wires as much. I mean, and for the user, it just feels like identical to like any sort of other Web 2 application. Legal and banking interfaces with like the quote unquote traditional world are still a challenge. Now we've got the DUNA in the United States, which is pretty interesting. There's of course many offshore options like MeDAO, and it's still a challenge to make ensure that you are following the rules. There was like a whole debanking period from 2021 or 2020 to 2024. You can look up Operation Choke Point. There were like a ton of companies that just got debanked for using crypto, which was crazy. And then there's still a lot of speculation culture. People will anonymously like launch coins, hype them up on Twitter. The price goes up, and they dump, and they just could do that over and over again. And then of course, like if you have a wallet on chain and you've got a bunch of money in it, then you're a target for social engineering, like phishing scams, stuff like that. You can also just like lose your keys and then get locked out, and there's no like hotline you can call. So like social recovery, I think is still something that like would be very useful. Kind of going into like how this will affect us moving forward. So there's this concept called the theory of the firm, which is like trying to explain like why we create companies and when do we create companies and how do they operate within the market. Yeah, a lot of the quote unquote theory of the firm really revolves around transaction friction. So like, what's the transaction cost of coordinating things within the firm versus outside of the firm? And as the friction, or like as the cost of like creating these companies reaches zero over time, then I think we'll essentially start to see a lot more firms that are done on like a single-use basis. So it becomes trivially easy to coordinate with other people using multi-sig or something like that. And then you can have a very straightforward definition of like how payouts are done between everyone who's participating in that venture. And yeah, I think the Sovereign Individual, which is like a very prophetic book written in the 90s that like predicted digital money, and like a bunch of it's a really wild book because it essentially like kind of lays out what the world is going to look like due to cryptography and due to the ability to like for people to like transact online. And their prediction is that we're going to see a lot of like kind of like Hollywood-ish looking companies where like there's a mission, there's a thing that you do, and then you do that thing, and then you get paid out, and then the IP or like the rights and distribution of the money that's like generated from that is like predictably distributed between a smart contract. It also predicts a lot of other crazy stuff like the end of nation states, but we don't have to get into all of that. So I think the other like kind of like major, I mean, we're living through like this major revolution right now with AI, and so I think anything that's being built needs to kind of interface or kind of accept that reality that like there will be a lot of AI agents that use this infrastructure. And I think that we currently like already have that. Like most companies already have like a major AI component. You can really think of companies as these like collective cybernetic organisms, which sounds like very sci-fi, but like they really do have like now a machine intelligence that's like using a lot of the context of the organization in order to make decisions. And I think over time, more and more of the business logic and like context of that company will be useful for AIs and will be swallowed by AIs. And then I think more and more of these like organizational interfaces will become more like APIs. I mean, Stripe is essentially already doing this, or like companies that like support company like operations. But I think the DAOs or on-chain organizations will be kind of this like techno capital engine for the information age, and on-chain agents will be able to like use this like common language via blockchains. Like you kind of want to have something that is like the lingua franca for these AI agents, and I think more likely than not, it's going to be some EVM type thing. It's going to be something that like is a universally accepted standard for these agents to coordinate with one another. And I think the top contender right now is like EVM blockchains. And I think that as more and more of this infrastructure gets built out, these on-chain agents will be able to like maneuver this stuff and like do, like you're already seeing like on-chain agents that are like have the promise of like generating passive income for you and just like doing work on chain. I don't know if well, I don't want to speculate on like how quickly that's going to happen, but I think that we're going to see the kind of merger of like companies with like the blockchain infrastructure and like AI, and it's going to be it sounds like a hodgepodge of just like thrown together buzzwords, but I think in this case it's like actually happening. So yeah, it's interesting. So just going through some like other like interesting futures. So I think that as companies become more and more sophisticated and like integrate all these AIs and become like super intelligent, we're going to need better institutions that can align these companies with the public good. And I mean, we currently already do that. Like we have these like democratic institutions and infrastructure around like voting and the Constitution of the United States. It's like all these things that have been built in order to align people and make sure that the common good is paramount. But as these companies become more and more powerful, I think we're going to need to evolve these institutions such that they integrate a lot of the kind of infrastructure that we're building. So we need these like internet native institutions that can move at the same speed as these companies that can provide this like democratic infrastructure so that these ASIs or whatever don't run off and move so quickly that we can't catch up with regulation. And by the time we wake up and say, oh my God, these ASIs should be under our control, it's kind of like too late. So I really do foresee that like given enough time, like most nations and international institutions will incorporate a lot of like DAO tooling. So yeah, I think that there's kind of like two outcomes here. Either they don't incorporate this tooling, they don't become a part of this like new way of doing things on chain. They kind of struggle to and are just like pushing paper around. They realize that all this stuff is permissionless and they can't actually like reel it in, and they're just stuck. Or these institutions adopt this like new medium. They integrate on chain with these organizations. They kind of set up the right kinds of permissions and the right kinds of essentially ways of making sure that they don't do bad things. And yeah, if we don't do that, then these corporations might just be able to run amok, and yeah, who knows what happens then. And then I think obviously with MoonDAO, DAO governed settlements on other celestial bodies. The economies on these other bodies are going to. They're not going to want to use credit cards. They're not going to want to send all the information back down to Earth constantly. I think they're going to have some level of like autonomy and probably have some like peer-to-peer method of like transacting with one another. I think that there's going to be a lot of autonomous robotics that are like setting up the infrastructure on these other planets. And if company A wants to transact with company B, like they're going to want to have some like shared medium or like lingua franca in order to work with one another. That's probably going to be some sort of blockchain, and they're probably going to have like local copies on chain so that they don't have to like deal with the lag of sending stuff from the moon to Earth or from Mars to Earth. So I think that stuff is like, obviously really, really cool and exciting, and it's like it's kind of a blank slate where we get to like imagine how all of these organizations and like robotic entities kind of work with one another on chain from the ground up. So yeah, that's basically all I have for this presentation. I think yeah, we have some updates that we do want to share from Moondao's end, but I'm actually going to hold off because I think we've got some really, really exciting stuff that I want to share kind of all at once. I'll give like a small teaser, but essentially we've like put together these like quests for people at Moondao to essentially like complete different missions and then like level up their profile. And we've done a major rehaul and of the website, and yeah, I think yeah, it's all kind of coming together, and we're using this like quest feature in order to help people navigate the new site. So we'll have that up soon, and then yeah, really excited to get that in your guys' hands. So yeah, I'm going to, I suppose, pass it over here to Colin, who will share his screen, and then we're going to move into Discord to do project updates and review proposals. I guess one more thing before we get into that. We have so there's a period last week where uh, proposals weren't being sent up to our voting platform. But since then, that issue's been resolved. Proposals are live again, and yeah, thanks for your patience on that. But yeah, the proposals are currently going through the pipeline, and yeah, cool. Cool. I will add Colin's screen here. And I'll see you guys there on Discord. All right, and we're back. So yeah, usually Ryan will help out with this part, but Ryan is currently in Brazil. I don't know if Ryan's connection is stable enough to jump up here and give us an update on everything that's been going on the ground in Brazil, which has been very exciting. I'll invite Ryan up here just to test it out, but I'm assuming that it might be a little tricky. Oh, looks like we got Ryan. Hey, Ryan.
Maybe. I don't know if you guys can hear me.
Yep, we can hear you.
Yeah.
You might go camera off.
Good.
It's
Okay. Yeah. We're literally about to. Okay. Yeah. Maybe it'll be a little bit better now, but yeah, we're literally about to load up onto the transport van here and head out to Habitat Marte, which is the analog mission that Julie Rezende runs. Out in the semi-arid desert here in northeastern Brazil. But yeah, it's been a really, really amazing trip so far. Super busy. We're basically doing like 12-hour days, visiting cancer clinics, children with cancer in Rio, in Brasilia, and now in Natal. We've got obviously Aman here and the Russian cosmonaut Denis Medvedev. It's been really amazing work. People are really, really excited to will see us here, take pictures with the astronauts. Not an opportunity that most people have, especially here. Yeah, we'll have to give a further update, but we did an astronaut forum yesterday. Went up there, gave a presentation about Moon DAO. Yeah, it's been cool. Sorry, I'm a little distracted here because we're literally loading up into the van right now. It was a little late, but let me. I'll try and keep tuning in. Sorry, Pablo.
No worries. Yeah, I understand that you're on the ground. Yeah, I think it's awesome. How many? Well, I don't know if you can respond, but I'm pretty sure they've been now to 3 different cities and have a few more to go. So, yeah, making a big splash.
Yeah, we've been to 3 cities so far, and we'll be heading to the 4th city here in 2 days. So, yeah, all over the country. I don't know. We've definitely done outreach here now to hundreds of children. I don't know, there were like 60 or 80 kids in the planetarium in one place, a few dozen in each hospital. So, we're just trying to make them bring a little joy into their life. Obviously, a lot of kids are, battling cancer. I don't know, we met one kid here today who has been in the hospital now for about, I think he was in the hospital for 7 or 8 years. So, yeah, it's just trying to bring a little bit of hopes and dreams to their lives as they're facing a tough situation. They're painting some art that's going to be taken into space, decorated on the outside of a Soyuz rocket that will be flying in the end of November. So, yeah, I mean, regardless of, I think this is money well spent in terms of just the impact that we're having on people's lives for sure.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome that we can help support stuff like this in Brazil, and it's also amazing that Iman's background as a cardio oncologist is like really kind of perfect for this. It's really just it's awesome to see Iman kind of using both worlds in order to inspire and support these kids. So very cool. All right. Well, I think we can get into other project updates. I don't think we've got Enja Bob here. And then obviously Anastasia's with you, Ryan. So that might be tricky unless if she's like literally right there. But you've already given the update for Brazil. So.
Yeah, she's right there in the front seat. But yeah, I don't think we got Iman in the back here, and yeah.
Awesome.
No, yeah, giving updates to Anastasia.
Cool. All right. Phil's got a little bit of an update here for Anna's project. So pass over to you, Phil.
Thanks. Hey, y'all. So Anna's been hard at work on a draft, the draft manuscript, and Jabab set up the thing in Overleaf for formatting and layout, and all the citations for the research. We're chugging away. The deadline is coming up, so I think next week, or I have to double check the calendar. But Anna is on track to submit something before the deadline.
Cool. And remind us again, when is IAC for anyone else that's out there in Australia?
IAC is September 28th until October 4th, I believe, in Sydney, Australia.
Awesome. So yeah, coming up soon. Yeah, that's great. Exciting. Cool. So I think we've got a couple proposals that are live right now, including one with Treasure Corp. So I'm going to invite Sarah up here to share a little bit about that. And thank you, Sarah, for being patient with us as we get the voting platform up and running again. Cool. Sarah, if you want to join up here. If not, no, Sarah, we can't hear you. You're not on stage. There we go.
Hi, sorry. I just have this issue every time you invite me. I have to go back to the main screen to click accept, and then it happens at the same time. Apologies. So no, thank you very much for approving the snapshot. And also, I just wanted to say thank you, Phil, for calling out the topic last week on the what's written in the proposal. I self-reflected and realized maybe mentioning many quarters, even though it's just for transparency and information, could be confusing to the voters. But I checked on Snapshot today and I saw that it only took Q4 information, but it didn't take all the proposal with the cost breakdown in Snapshot. So I think there's like a cutoff of how much text is allowed in Snapshot. So if anyone's interested to look into the tables and everything, just go into the main proposal in the website. I put the link here in the chat, and also it's under moondao.com/proposal 190. And then you can find all the information. And just so that anyone's listening to this recording, please note that the two features are for Q4 are the multi-wallet aggregation feature and the reward system feature, which are covered for Q4 2025. The rest is just information and is not covered in the scope of this proposal. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Cool.
Please
All right.
vote.
Yeah. Thanks, Sarah. Yeah, we can. So, and just emphasize one more time, the proposal is live right now. So, please give it a look and go through and leave your vote.
Yeah. Can I ask about the proposal stuff too? Minor plug for my proposal as well. It is also up for vote right now. It says it's due in 3 days, and there's only a couple voters on there. So it'd be great to get more participation and get a better read on how people feel about it. That goes for Sarah's too. I was wondering if there are any plans to debrief or I guess like at work I do postmortems. It makes it sound way bigger than I think it needs to be, but a dissection of why the platform broke and why it wasn't, like what problems came up putting it back together, just for visibility. So like
right.
we understand how it's going.
It really, I mean, it was really basically just that Snapshot charge for a pro tier. We thought about whether or not we wanted to do the pro tier, and then we for the pro tier. So now we have the Snapshot Pro.
The part that confused me a little bit was it seemed after voting, I was on the multi-sig for approving those that Snapshot upgrade, and it seemed like getting back up and running was a little bit more than just turning the lights back on.
It was 2 transactions in order to just pay Snapshot to upgrade us to Pro. That's basically it.
Yes, and what I'm saying is I've been checking pretty much every day on the voting platform, and today is the first day that I've been able to, or yesterday was the first day that I was able to cast a vote. So I was just wondering if we can postmortem just to say the effects of this on it. I think there's been a lot of churn, especially with this Snapshot issue, and I am concerned that it's unfairly, causing fewer people to vote than otherwise, or shortening the effective voting period. So,
well, yeah,
it's hard to not know what's going on, and then not wait and sit there and wait, and then a week later get a response, and then come up here and finally it works today after almost a month after submitting these.
Right. Well, the proposal platform was down for a week and a half. So thanks for your patience. But yeah, I mean, there's really not too much to add beyond just, Snapshot just changed how they treat their the people using it. We were considered to be part of the pro tier, and it's relatively expensive, so we just had to figure out whether or not this was worth it for us. And it just
Great.
a little bit.
I appreciate your transparency there. I was more wondering about for when I asked for postmortem, it's more about MoonDAO's response to this happening and the time before it's back up. Sarah also has a question that I shared. What happens to a proposal if voter turnout is low? Like if only one person votes on a proposal?
Right.
what
So
happens?
I appreciate your concern and thought here, Phil. We'll do an announcement about the proposals because we haven't done that, and a newsletter as well to get people notified about this the delay in getting those proposals up from town hall to Snapshot. We'll make sure people are notified, and the voting period is still the same amount, so it's still 5 days. And then there's no minimum quorum. It's just minimum amount of time. So we'll make sure that people are notified, and we'll get a couple announcements out, and obviously this town hall should help people get notified. But the proposals.
So if one
2 days.
citizen votes, and their decision is the majority of the ballot total, it will close and honor that vote?
With our constitution, there's no minimum quorum. It's just time-based. So yeah. Cool. All right. Any other questions, Phil?
No, I just wanted to say, y'all, I know y'all are busy, but it'd be great to, next time an issue that affects everyone on the platform like this happens, it would be great to have maybe more frequent updates, or every couple days or something to report what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying our best here, Phil.
I know.
Thanks for the patience.
Cheering for us too. Thank you so much, Pablo. Also, great presentation.
Thanks.
Enjoy Brazil.
Right. Cool. So I believe that we've gone through all of the different projects here. So I think if there's nothing else, we can close up, and then if people would like to, oftentimes we'll jump into the voice chat and Major Tom and hang out. So you're welcome to join there and hang for a little bit. Thank you very much. We'll close up. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Welcome to MoonDAO, a revolutionary governance model and mission-oriented community that's reshaping collaboration in the space industry. Our mission is to create a self-sustaining, self-governing settlement on the moon to act as a launch point into the cosmos. MoonDAO is governed like a nation, with its own economy, constitution, voting system, treasury, elections, and senate, but internet native, and so without the limitations of geography. In 2022, we sent our first member to space, showcasing our model's capacity for real-world impact. Now, we're implementing key solutions for global collaboration in the space industry. We offer a borderless, permissionless platform that enables everyday people to participate in the future of space development and exploration. Be part of our lunar legacy and join the MoonDAO movement today.